The NBA buyout market is essentially mid-season free agency where players reach a deal with their current team to terminate their contract, allowing that very same player to find another team to sign with for the rest of the season. In recent years, typically these players are big names who are past their prime and are playing for non-playoff competing teams. These teams are more than not happy to oblige with the player's wishes so they can cut a bloated contract and further develop their younger talent. The two parties agree on a deal. The team then buys out the rest of the contract, typically for a negotiated lower number. The player is then placed on waivers, basically cut from the team, where he is allowed to talk to other squads, typically playoff contenders, and then gets to choose his next destination. Enter the 2021 Philadelphia 76ers, leaders of the Eastern Conference, winners of 6 of their last 9 games. Playoff bound, we have 2 young stars to take us there in Joel and Ben, generational stars, and we clearly have a need for a backup stretch 4 or a 5. Personally, I believe we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and our ceiling is the finals if we beat the Infinity Stone Gauntlet Nets. Yet no one wants to come here. Not a single buyout candidate chose Philly as his next team. What the hell gives? The backup 4 was always a position of need. If you know me, if you have been watching this channel from the beginning of the season, I have always been saying Mike Scott isn't it. Now the whole world, or at least Sixers fandom universe, is seeing it, and I am a proud dad. Realistic buyout candidates that the Sixers could have gotten was LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMarcus Cousins, Gorgie Dang, and Andre Drummond. There were other buyout candidates in the market that the Sixers could have gotten, but they were not stretch 4s or bigs, so I believe we were just wasting our time because the Sixers were not going to pick up another guard when we already got George Hill, Ben, and Shake. We're trying to find needs for a team, not just pick up Bulls to pick up Bulls. So the next logical question is, why the hell didn't these Bulls sign with the Sixers? You would think they would with all the talent we have, and I guess essentially being in the East, the easier route to win a championship. Let's talk about Aldridge. He signed with the Brooklyn Nets. That clearly was to ring chase. We could have used him in his stretch 4 or 5 abilities. Shooting, you've been seeing him in highlights shooting the 3 out of nowhere with Brooklyn. Good Lord. Gorgie Dang, interesting case right here because I thought that he was going to be could have been a very good piece for us. I was really intrigued with his height, and he could have played the 4 and 5, being a defensive nightmare for opposing teams. He eventually chose the Spurs. It was reported that it was for playing time in a bigger role with Greg Popovich's team. And I can understand why, he's coming from the Grizzlies where he did have a big role. Why would you want to no, that actually don't make sense. He could have came to the Sixers. I'm tight. That don't make sense. Nah. I was trying to actually, convince myself of why he would go to the Spurs who weren't going to win nothing, but it is what it is. Andre Drummond ended up on the Lakers. It was reported a lot during the season that he would end up on the Nets, but he ended up in La La Land with LeBron James. He's nice, but I feel as though we're kind of overrating him. He's not really the whole difference between a championship and not. And you see the ball got hurt really quick. He just went there to ring chase, and I don't blame him. And then DeMarcus Boogie Cousins, the man, the player, the legend who I really wanted on the 76ers. He fit perfectly as a backup 5 along with Howard. That would have been so amazing, just having the optionality to have multiple big man backup and beat. Imagine a stretch 5 next to Ben Simmons who can actually competently hit a 3-pointer. That opens up the offense even more. He signed with the Clippers, which was out of nowhere, and it's to ring chase. So we finna see the Battle of LA this year. So I wrote down potential reasons why these people didn't want to come to the Sixers, why these stars, if you even want to call them stars, did not come to the Sixers. The first could be coaching. Maybe they don't like Doc specifically. I know at least players who played in the Clippers organization last year really didn't like Doc because he didn't hold certain players accountable, i.e. Kawhi, i.e. PG. Maybe that has gotten leaked around the whole league and players think he's overrated or don't want to play for him. Doc kind of gives off the cool, corny uncle type vibe, a very knowledgeable one, to where he wants it his way. He will still take suggestions, but it's going to be his way or the highway. Some players may not want to, work in those conditions. This is not confirmed. This is just me theorizing. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong, but That could be a possibility. The second reason could be no minutes, like with Gorgie Dang. A lot of these players are prima donnas, and they're probably not going to want to sit behind Joel Embiid unless it is a big role. Like, they already see Dwight Howard thriving here. Why would they be the next fiddle next to him? I mean, but if the point is to get a championship, like, why would that matter? The third is maybe these buyout candidates don't want to face Brooklyn in the playoffs and don't believe that they can beat them, because Brooklyn is drawing right now, dog. Like, I really do not see how we're going to beat them unless we play our game perfectly. And I don't got us doing that. Not because we can't, but because we're young. Now, I do expect us to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and play Brooklyn and seeing, if we can ball out against them, because when we get there, anything can happen, right? But nobody wants to play KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. That's just cheating. This video is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings has brought their expertise to legal sports betting. It's a legitimate sports book based right here in the US, so you can rest assured that your funds are totally secure. DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the app and sign up using promo code YEEN215 for more perks. DraftKings is offering all new users a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000. You must make a deposit in order to be eligible to receive a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Head to DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and check out all they have to offer, including player prop bets, live betting, futures, betting, and so much more. And if by the off chance you do not have Sportsbook available in your state as of right now, don't fret, you can still download DraftKings Fantasy app, where they are offering millions of dollars in total prizes every single week. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. Thanks. Now, I'm guilty of this, but I really was banking on a buyout candidate to complete this team. And maybe that was kind of premature for me to do so, because even looking historically, the Sixers really don't get buyout candidates. The last time we really hit gold was during the 2017-2018 year, my favorite Sixers team, by the way, when we got Ersan Ilyasova and Marco Bellinelli off of waivers. Now, one could argue that why we got those players was because of familiarity. With Ersan, he had already played with the Sixers before season prior, and then Marco Bellinelli, he was familiar with Coach Brett Brown when Brett Brown coached in San Antonio. So there does need to be some connection with these players to want to come to a different team oftentimes. And what connection does people really have to the Sixers? You have to go all the way back to the year 2015, the last time the Sixers got a buyout market player, Glenn Robinson III, and this was during the process years when it didn't really even count that we got this bull. So we don't even really splash in the market anyway historically, so why would we assume that we could get it right this time? As 76er fans, we fell for the buyout market Kool-Aid hype. Honestly, if you are betting on the market to be the thing that puts your team over the top, then you're screwed. The buyout market is essentially a crapshoot, as you'll never know what your team needs until that time of the season comes around, and you have to hope that your team is even good enough for a player to want to come to you. If you're banking on that, you're a fool. And I mean, besides, the buyout market really doesn't even tend to work anyway, unless you're PJ Brown or Sam Cassell on the 2008 Celtics, or Boris Diaw for the 2012 Spurs. Can you tell me if these players really made a difference? So at the end of the day, the Sixers may have struck out, but we still have a conglomerate of Ben, Joel, and Tobias. That's just what we're going to have to live with. And all is not lost in the market per se, as it doesn't officially close until the 9th of this month. They were saying that potentially we could, get Kelly Olynyk, but I really wouldn't, bank on that. But let me know what you think of the Sixers buyout woes. Do you think we can still compete for a championship with the squad that we have? Let me know in the comment section. I want to thank everybody for pulling up and listening to A Brother Think. Like, share, subscribe, and share with a Sixers fiend if you feel so inclined. As always, them Bulls are mad because the process worked. My name is Kain, and I will see you next time. Peace.